So I just saw Deadpool, and it was good. This is yet another movie that I have incredibly mixed feelings about. To put it simply, it's a refreshing change of pace for a Marvel movie, and I wish more of them were like this, but it's still not really my thing. If you're excited for this movie based on what you've seen in the promotional material, then you likely won't be disappointed. As for me, I bought my ticket for this movie because of its R rating. If we can prove to major Hollywood studios that these types of movies don't have to be PG-13 to be successful, then I think we're making the world a better place. Sorry, Grace Randolph. For the most part, this film was fairly enjoyable. It was filled with the exact kind of humor that you'd expect from Deadpool as a character. Constant fourth wall breaking and references, crude and sadistic humor, general insanity. You know, Deadpool. If the character is something that you already love, then you'll love the shit out of this movie. I've never really been all that wowed by Deadpool as a character, and I wasn't really all that wowed by this film. When so much of it revolves around its sense of humor and your sense of humor doesn't really match up with the film's, then what are you supposed to do? I had a few chuckles here and there, and parts of it made me smile, and the pizza delivery scene was genuinely hilarious. But there was also a decent amount of it that I just didn't find all that funny.
Shit. Did I leave the stove on?
So yeah, kind of a neutral stance on the individual one-liners for me, but as for the comedic tone of the film, I thought that that was pretty well done. It's not that often where you get to see a superhero movie where the main character is actually insane. Just this movie as a concept alone helped make it both watchable and unique. In terms of the actual filmmaking, however, it was obvious that that wasn't as much of a priority. The action scenes were all very well done. Pretty much any scene that was heavily visual effects oriented turned out great, but then about half of the movie is not one of those scenes, and it relies solely on the comedy. And if you love the sense of humor typical to the Deadpool franchise, you will be having a blast. But if you're the type of person that finds it to be chuckle-worthy at most, then there isn't really all that much else to chew on. In terms of the actual filmmaking, half of the movie feels as though it might as well just be any other Marvel movie. With a better director, the dialogue scenes could have been filmed in a more visually interesting and engaging way, but unfortunately it was mostly just standardized and uninspired. It's things like these that make me upset that Edgar Wright never got to direct his Marvel movie. Even if we had James Gunn from Guardians of the Galaxy, I think it would have been a better choice. And I don't even think Guardians of the Galaxy is a cinematic masterpiece, but in the non-action scenes in that film, everything felt so much more alive. Deadpool, for the most part, was about getting the shot, but Guardians of the Galaxy was about finding creative ways to get the shot. There was so much more of a variety when it came down to the angles, movement, depth, and so on. But in Deadpool, things often felt really visually boring. The framing and cinematography for the non-action scenes in Deadpool was about 95% standardized and uninspired, and the other 5% was when the angle of the shot was basically just the punchline. The opening sequence to the film was pretty great. Not only did the titles have some comedic self-awareness to them, but the choice to keep everything frozen in time was a nice little allusion to the medium of comic books, wherein each frame from a comic book is just a still image. I liked the general goofiness and insanity of the opening action scene and all the ones that followed. It's kind of hilarious with him being invincible and all, but I didn't really find myself caring all that much about him as a character or whether or not he achieved his goals. There were a few interesting details to pick up on in the fight sequences as well. I for one appreciated the bullet hole consistency in his uniform. The film is self-aware and has plenty of jokes aimed at the Marvel Universe and superhero movie tropes. This is also a movie featuring Vancouver pretending to be a different city. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Tony from Every Frame of Painting has a great video on the subject. Anyway, if there's anything that I really want to say about this movie, it's that if you think you'll like it, you will like it. As a Marvel movie, I would consider this to be pretty great. As a movie, I would consider it to be good. Hopefully in the future we get to see more movies like this one that have a lot less restrictions. Guardians of the Galaxy could have been so much more if it didn't have to restrict itself to a PG-13 rating. And the reason why I keep bringing up Guardians of the Galaxy is not just because they're both comedic superhero movies, but I feel like both of these films were everything that the other one wasn't. The best parts of each of these would be everything I could possibly want out of a Marvel superhero movie. As for Deadpool on its own, I probably won't ever be seeing it again, but I will be checking out the sequel. I've got plenty of over-the-top self-aware action comedies to choose from before this one, so I don't really see the point. I'm happy that this movie is a success, I'm happy that it tried something new, and I'm happy that the Deadpool fans got what they wanted. Check it out for yourself and don't let me stop you from enjoying it, and I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10. Oh no! David Cage!
What did you do?
Strikes again!
What did you do to my video game, David Cage?